The Creighton model is not hard, but it does require something when you start. And without it, even the most motivated woman will struggle to stay consistent. I'm a Creighton practitioner, and I'll be honest with you, I've watched incredibly motivated, faith filled women start this method with the best intentions and still hit a wall. Not because they weren't trying hard enough, but because they were missing a few simple foundational habits. And that's exactly what we're covering today. I'm going to show you what those habits are, why they matter more than you might think, and how to build them into your real life. Not some perfect imaginary life where you have all the time in the world. You started Creighton with so much hope. Maybe you've done your research, talked to a practitioner, maybe even felt like this was the answer to a prayer. And now you're staring at your chart, wondering if you're doing anything right. Feeling that confusion, the inconsistency, quiet temptation to just close that chart and walk away. That is so much more common than you think. And it has almost nothing to do with whether you're smart enough or faithful enough or committed enough. If you're at that wall right now, I want you to stay with me because before you give up, watch this. So, what actually separates the women who stick with Creighton and see real results from the ones who walk away? It comes down to something simpler than you might expect. Here's what I want you to hold on to before we dive in. You chose Creighton for a reason. It aligns with your faith, it works with your body, and not against it. It treats you like an intelligent woman who deserves to understand what's happening inside her own cycle. And that is not a small thing. But I also want to be really honest with you. Creighton does have a real learning curve. We provide all the materials for you and the support, but it still does have a learning curve, and that's why we're there for you. Now, let's start with that one habit that sounds almost too simple, but it's the one that I see missing most often. Creighton is a pattern recognition method. Your body is giving you information every single day, but that information only becomes useful when you collect it consistently. And one of the biggest things that affect consistency is charting at random times. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes at night, sometimes you remember it at 11 p.m. and you're not even sure what you observed. So here's what I want you to do. Anchor your observation to something you already do every day. Your morning routine, brushing your teeth before bed, your daily prayer time, whatever it is. Attach your Creighton habit to it. You do not need a perfect day. You need a consistent habit. Consistency over perfection every single time. But here's where most women get it wrong. Creighton was not designed to be self-taught from a manual, a video, or a PDF. I want you to say that out loud because a lot of women are out there trying to figure this out on their own, and they feel like failures when they can't. Your fertility care practitioner is not just there for your scheduled follow-up appointments. They are there for you in between moments. The unusual observation you're not sure how to classify, the cycle that looked totally different from the last one, the week where you honestly have no idea what your body was doing. Reach out. Ask the question. That is not a burden. That is literally what this relationship is designed for. The women I see succeed with Creighton are the ones who treat their fertility care practitioner like the partner in health that they are. This next part is especially important if you're in your late 30s or 40s, because it reframes something that a lot of women are silently beating themselves up over. By the way, if you're still figuring out whether Creighton is even the right fit for you, I do offer intro sessions where we can talk through exactly that. I'll drop the link below. And we'll come back to these habits in just a second. Now, I need you to hear this one, especially if you're 35 or older. The first few cycles of Creighton are not a test you pass or fail. They are data collection. Your body is telling its story, and you are learning the language. And that takes time. And if you're moving through perimenopause, if your cycles are shifting, if things are not as predictable as they once were, that is not a problem with Creighton. That is actually exactly the kind of information Creighton is built to capture. Give yourself the gift of patience in those early months. And if you want the clearest possible picture of what your hormones are doing, you may need to combine charting with some targeted hormone testing. And once we actually see the pattern, we shift into NaPro medical consultation, where your NaPro medical consultant can order targeted labs based on your charting. Because your chart and your labs tell a story together that neither one can tell alone. If you're still with me, good, because the next shift is the one that quietly changes everything about how you experience this method. Now, this one is a mindset shift, and I mean that in the most practical way possible. Your chart is not a grade. It's not a reflection of how good of a Catholic you are, how disciplined you are, how together your life is. It's clinical information. A messy cycle, an inconsistent pattern, a week that felt impossible to read, those observations are not signs that you're failing, Creighton. They are signs that your body is communicating something worth paying attention to. I want you to start bringing your chart to your other medical appointments. Bring it up at telehealth visits, bring it to your hormone consults, to any health conversation that you're having. Because that data is genuinely useful and it deserves to be treated like the health record that it is. And that brings us to your very next step. Because knowing these habits is one thing, but knowing where to start is another. I want to hear from you right now. Drop a comment below and tell me, what part of Creighton feels hardest for you right now? Is it the consistency, the charting, not knowing what you're looking at? This community is here, and your question might be the one that helps someone else feel less alone. If you know your hormones might be a part of the picture, my hormone testing option is a good step. I'll link that below too. And if you're in Arizona or Alaska and you need NaPro medical management, that's exactly what I also do. Let's figure this out together. Now, you just got a real look at what it actually takes to make Creighton work in your everyday life. And if any part of you was nodding along thinking, okay, but where do I even start? That is exactly what an intro session is for. You get to learn the history of Creighton, the science behind it, and we look at where you are right now and help you figure out your next step. Head to the link below and go ahead and sign up. I would love to be that trusted guide for you on this journey. Your body is telling you something. Creighton is one of the most powerful ways to listen to it. Don't quit before you hear the whole story. And if you want more faith-focused, hormone-smart content, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.